In the early 1930s, Canada was plunged into the depths of the Great Depression, known as the Dirty Thirties. This economic collapse left millions without jobs, homes, or hope. Few countries were hit as hard as Canada, particularly the prairie provinces, where at the same time, droughts turned once fertile lands into dust bowls, destroying livelihoods and forcing 250,000 farmers to flee between 1931 and 1941. The federal government, led by Prime Minister William Lloyd Mackenzie King, initially believed the crisis would resolve itself. King's Liberal government introduced limited relief measures, but these were hopefully inadequate for the scale of the suffering. By 1930, with public frustration mounting, R.B. Bennett and the Conservatives swept to power, promising decisive action to combat the crisis. Bennett's government initially resisted large-scale intervention, focusing instead on restrictive measures like severe immigration limits, deporting about 25,000 unemployed immigrants between 1930 and 1931. However, by 1935, Bennett launched a series of relief programs inspired by Franklin D. Roosevelt and his New Deal in the United States. These included make-work projects and expanded welfare, though they led a significant federal deficit. One key initiative was the establishment of relief camps, where single unemployed men were paid just 20 cents a day to build roads and public works. These relief camps, run by the Department of National Defense, became hotbeds of discontent due to poor conditions and low wages. In 1935, thousands of camp residents, organized by the Workers' Unity League and led by Arthur Slim Evans, struck and began the On to Ottawa Trek. Their goal was to travel from Vancouver to Ottawa to demand better conditions and direct relief from federal government. The trek gained momentum, with numbers swelling to around 2,000 by the time they reached Regina. However, Prime Minister Bennett ordered the trek stopped. On July 1st, 1935, in Regina's Market Square, police moved to arrest the trek's leaders, sparking the Regina riot. The clash left one policeman dead, hundreds injured, and 130 protesters arrested, highlighting the deep tensions between government and the unemployed. Amidst this economic and social turmoil, new political movements emerged, challenging the dominance of the Liberal and Conservative parties, which many Canadians felt had failed to address the crisis. In Alberta, the Social Credit Party, led by William Bible Bill Aberhart, rose to prominence. Aberhart, a charismatic radio preacher, denounced traditional banks and promised a radical solution: a monthly dividend of $25 for every Albertan to boost the economy. He declared, "We are going to abolish poverty. We are going to make it possible for every man, woman, and child to have enough to live on." In 1935, Social Credit won a landslide victory in Alberta's provincial election, securing 56 seats. However, their attempt to implement radical banking reforms were struck down by the federal government and courts, as banking was a federal jurisdiction. Meanwhile, a different vision emerged with the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation, or CCF, founded in 1932. In Calgary, the CCF united farmers, laborers, and socialists under the platform of democratic socialism. Their Regina Manifesto, adopted in 1933, boldly stated, "No CCF government will rest content until it has eradicated capitalism and put into operations the full program of socialized planning, which will lead to the establishment in Canada of the Cooperative Commonwealth." Led by figures like J.S. Woodsworth and later Tommy Douglas, the CCF gained traction, particularly in Saskatchewan. In 1944, under Tommy Douglas's leadership, the CCF formed North America's first social democratic government in Saskatchewan. They introduced groundbreaking policies, including universal health care, which became a model for Canada's modern healthcare system. The CCF's influence extended beyond Saskatchewan, pushing for reforms like old age pensions and corporate tax changes at the federal level. Other provinces saw varied responses. In Quebec, the Union Nationale, led by Maurice Duplessis, rose to power in 1936, emphasizing provincial autonomy. In British Columbia, Premier T. Dufferin Putalos's work and wages program aimed to provide jobs and stimulate the economy. Federally, after the Liberals returned to power in 1935 under Mackenzie King, they implemented further relief measures, including the National Housing Act and the creation of Trans-Canada Airlines, the predecessor to Air Canada. King's government also reluctantly adopted Keynesian economic policy, using deficit spending and subsidies to stimulate recovery. The Great Depression transformed Canada's society and politics. It exposed the vulnerability of a resource-based economy and led to the establishment of social welfare programs that remain a cornerstone of Canadian life. The federal government's role became more interventionist, with policies like the Companies Creditor Arrangement Act and the Farmers Creditors Arrangement Act providing relief to struggling businesses and farmers. The populist movements of the era left a lasting legacy as well. The Social Credit Party governed Alberta until 1968, though it shifted to a more conservative stance under Ernest Manning. The CCF evolved into the New Democratic Party, NDP, in 1961. Continuing to advocate for social, democratic policies and influencing Canada's political landscape. From the ashes of the Great Depression rose a new Canada, with a stronger social safety net and a more engaged citizenry. The struggle of the 1930s and the bold responses from populist movements and governments shaped the nation's path for generations to come, creating a legacy of resilience and reform. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what other topics you would like to explore. I'm Ian Strucker with the Remax Golfi team, helping you understand the forces that shape Canada. I'll see you in the next one.